There is literally nowhere in the world where law is simple for crypto projects. Welcome to the UAE. Ruled by an elective monarchy, it's a confederation of 7 different emirates. Dubai is well known to most, but Abu Dhabi is at the heart of the nation, being its capital, with Ajman, Sharjah, Al Quwain, Fujairah, and Ras Al Khaimah rounding out the bunch. UAE is a civil law system influenced by Sharia law. That's to say, its commercial and financial services laws are codified and contained in statutes, which is to distinguish them from common law legal systems in which laws are also contained in statutes, but courts also play a role in producing legal precedents or judicial rulings which are used to decide cases at hand. There are 3 layers of laws and reg authorities relevant to companies setting up and operating in the UAE, and they exist at a federal level, emirate level, and depending on whether you're mainland or a free zone, there's laws and regulators there as well. Let's take a look at the main agencies and what they do. The Central Bank of the UAE regulates payment services, financial institutions, i.e. banks and fintechs, and sets monetary policy. The Securities and Commodities Authority regulates all securities and commodities activities in the UAE, including licensing and supervision of exchanges for those assets. You could regard it as the equivalent of the SEC in the US and ASIC in Australia. By this law here, the SCA delegated some of its powers to the newly formed agency, Vara, which is charged with the responsibility for regulating and licensing virtual asset service providers based on the activities they perform in Dubai. Let's be clear here about Vara's scope of authority. It extends to Dubai's mainland and non-financial free zone areas, but doesn't apply to Dubai's financial free zone, the DIFC, and naturally, it also doesn't apply to the ADGM, which is Abu Dhabi's financial free zone. The regulators there, the DFSA and FSRA respectively, have established separate regimes for the regulation of crypto businesses, which we'll get to shortly. So if you're intending on setting up in Dubai and your operations include advisory, broker-dealer, custody, exchange, lending and borrowing activities, virtual asset management and investment services, virtual asset transfer and settlement services, or issuance, then you're going to need to get yourself a Vara license. It's important to note that Vara is new, and as in the way of new things, they are refining their processes as they bring virtual asset regulation to Dubai. If you want more information, look no further than Vara's website, where you can find their published rulebooks, those that apply to all VASPs, and those that are activity specific. So how do I get started on a Vara license? At present, the first step in approaching Vara is to determine what activities your operations fall under. Then start and submit an application through the Dubai free zones that cater to Web3 or mainland. The free zones currently equipped to onboard new applications are DMCC, DWTC, and DSO, including IFSA. But expect more free zones to start accommodating Web3, Metaverse, and VASP activities as this category grows in interest and scale in the UAE. These will potentially include DAFSA, DCC, Maiden, and the DDA conglomerate, which includes Media City and Internet City by the end of the year. So quite soon, you can expect a multitude of free zone options. Financial free zones, DIFC and ADGM. Now let's take a look at the financial free zones DIFC and ADGM, as they both have a lot to offer crypto businesses and present important options for Web3 companies, and any tech companies really, looking to set up in the UAE. Both the DIFC and ADGM are unique in the sense that they are distinct regulatory dominions in and of themselves. They operate separately to all other free zones and mainland territories because they are a common law jurisdiction operating in English, further to the rules set by their own independent reg authorities that are exclusive to that free zone, the DFSA in ADGM and the FSRA in Abu Dhabi. Each has their own court system, separate from the Emirates of Dubai and Abu Dhabi's legal systems, and that of the federal government of the UAE. Fun fact, the FSRA is the first authority to propose crypto-friendly laws back in 2018, and it's at the vanguard of reg developments once again with its proposed framework for DLT foundations, released in April 2023, which is important news for DAOs and which we'll cover in a separate video. These free zones house financial institutions and wealth funds, in addition to a diverse range of other fintechs, regtechs, and professional services shopfronts. Law firms, the Big Four, etc., they can be found here. While these free zones are usually considered by more established projects and often overlooked by startups, they both have incubators, grants, and other incentives that make the DIFC's Innovation Hub and ADGM's Hub 71 Very attractive options for crypto businesses, startups and scale-ups alike. We'll be making a video about our experience at ADGM's Hub 71 and DIFC's Innovation Hub soon, explaining what's on offer there. This is an important video for those of you who have made the decision that you want to set up a company in the UAE and are now deciding where best to do that and what support you can get. How do you choose between DIFC, ADGM, or a Vara setup? First of all, you don't have to. You can take a bite out of all three. Binance is set up in ADGM and under Vara. Crypto.com and OKX are under Vara in Dubai as well. Most established players operate with licenses in multiple jurisdictions, but for startups and scale-ups, the first activity is determining whether to set up a mainland or free zone with a Vara license or into the DIFC or ADGM financial free zones. For startups, we recommend non-financial free zones which accommodate crypto businesses, but this all depends on your specific activity, operations, objectives, and whether you're relocating yourself, your team, or you're setting up an entirely new office. Generally, IFSA in the DSO is popular with all tech, not just Web3. DMCC has a commodities focus and in our experience is a bit slower than the other free zones. DWTC is popular for its proximity to Vara or within Dubai. And then there's Rakaz in the Emirate of Ras Al Khaimah, which is proving popular as the home of Rakdao, Emerald, and with a strong GameFi focus. But there may be reasons that the ADGM or DIFC make more sense to your project. Financial free zones appeal to projects seeking the rigor of a more mature and stringent regulatory environment, whether that's as a precursor or complement to licensing activities in other countries. If demonstrating functional equivalency to regulators abroad, such as FINMA in Switzerland, MAS in Singapore, or ASIC in Australia is important to you, then it would serve you well to consider a free zone setup. These free zones come with a pricier tag to entry, but it's like a club. The cohort within it is select and the standard of membership is kept out of reach from the hoi polloi. What's the value in getting licensed in the UAE? First and foremost, regulatory certainty is the bedrock of commercial success. Without clear regulation and legitimacy to operate, how can you deploy capital, hire, scale, and drive your project forward? Here are the three main reasons we reason that licensing in the UAE is a worthwhile, if not essential element of your go-to-market or scale-up strategy. 1. Ability to operate your crypto business with regulatory clarity and certainty, with clear parameters. 2. Rigor in the level of regulatory oversight and functional equivalency for other regulators elsewhere. 3. Impossibility and/or unquantifiable or unjustifiable expense in time and money of getting licensed elsewhere. Here are some other reasons. The SEC's Binance and Coinbase actions, the CFTC and UkiDAO civil and CFTC-led actions make it dangerous to look at the US right now. The US is a veritable no-go zone. ASIC is following SEC's lead and adopting a regulation by enforcement agenda, which makes Australia a hostile place for crypto innovation right now. With the EU's MiCA regime to come, opening up a significant trading bloc, precursor licensing activities will stand global projects expanding into this new trading bloc in good stead.